All right, let's do it.
All right, hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to yet another client interview. Definitely getting through a fair few of these at this point, which is awesome. Today I'm joined by one of my favorite people, Amanda, who is not only a client of ours, but actually a personal friend of mine. And it's pretty awesome because our friendship sort of came out of like working together. Amanda joined us sort of early 2021, and she runs a marketing agency or an appointment setting business that helps coaches get more clients. When Amanda joined us, I think you were doing, if I'm not mistaken, like 30 grand a month, about there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
about that.
And then after about 3 or 4 months, we managed to scale up to 45,000 for her. But that's enough for me, Amanda. Why don't you sort of introduce yourself and tell everybody a bit about who you are and who you serve?
Sure. So my name is Amanda Rush. I own Rush Digital Marketing, and it's a marketing agency where we help professional coaches get more clients through organic LinkedIn outreach, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's pretty much what I do.
It's amazing. Awesome. And so you work with all sorts of coaches, if I'm not mistaken, except from there's a few exceptions that you don't work with. Who are those?
Yeah, pretty much. Since we work on LinkedIn, it's like we have to be able to we have to be able to find their audience on LinkedIn, which means we can't work with, for example, like relationship coaches. That's just one example. Typically, fitness coaches aren't really good fit either, to be honest.
Okay.
But everyone else, like business coaches, mindset coaches, performance coaches, transformation coaches,
Yeah.
anything where someone in the professional world would want to, to better themselves with.
Amazing, cool. So when we reached out to you, because I'm pretty sure we booked the call actually through Loom, if I'm not mistaken. That was the sort of initial outreach that we had. When we first reached out to you, obviously the reason you booked is because you just wanted to explore other ways for generating appointments. But if I'm not mistaken, when you came on board with us, that was the sort of a month or so after that was when that LinkedIn connection request limit sort of like hit, if that makes sense. And so you
Mhm.
transition to Looms. So what I want to sort of understand is a bit about where you were with the business before starting to work with us, and why you decided to purchase the program in the first place.
Sure. I actually believe that that LinkedIn limitation is part of what made me even like reach out or be open to what you had to offer as well. Not because it had happened yet, but because LinkedIn is always making these updates, and I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe I shouldn't just put all of my what's the term, something.
Eggs in a
Yeah, the eggs in the basket
bucket, eggs
thing.
in a basket. That's the
Yeah,
one.
maybe I shouldn't put all
All
of my
my
eggs.
eggs in one bucket. Yeah, go on.
I was gonna say apples or something. So, anyways, so I was like, maybe I should look into other options. So my mind was kind of open, and then
Mhm.
the loom that you sent me uh, to get me on your strategy call, I was like, this is really cool, and I've never seen anyone like outreach in such a personalized way before.
Mhm.
And I think it immediately uh, like added a sort of trust because it was like you were actually speaking to me via the video.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's why I was open to the call. And like I said, there was already a built-in trust, so I was like already open to listening to everything that you had to say, and it
Yeah.
sounded super legit. I believe when I joined, you were also like halfway through creating it too.
Yeah,
Um,
I was going to say this is like, I don't know what I said on the call, but you bought into it, but I'm pretty sure that we didn't even have like a product at that point. I think we had some modules together, but if I'm not mistaken, actually, we onboarded you and I had to send you the Google Drive link of the training videos for the Loom stuff. Or maybe it was like half
oh
done,
yeah,
but like because
I
you were
think it
interested in
was.
the ads as well, and I was like, oh yeah, we haven't done those yet, but it was a bit
Yes,
crazy.
I believe that is what happened. That like part of the course was created, but the part that I was interested in, which was the looms, wasn't. So you sent me like Google Drive.
Yeah, and you were like, "Oh, I'll
So
just buy a Google Drive," but we managed to get it recorded in the end, and it is. I promise to everyone listening, it is no longer a Google Drive.
no, it's
Much more
fully formed.
much more
Looks great.
professional than just an unlisted YouTube playlist or something like that. And so you hopped on board, and obviously we've had that quite a lot before, where we'll reach out to people either through cold email, or we have been using cold messaging at this point, or cold calling even, and people are like, yeah, you for some reason like you managed to get me on a call and nobody can get me on a call, so you must have something good here. So that's appreciate it. um
Exactly. I honestly don't even remember the last time I took a call with someone from outreach. So good job.
yeah, no, I appreciate that. And so you joined and you're obviously doing quite well, but you needed more. Now, if I'm not mistaken, you started doing the looms. You sort of waited a bit of time because you had a few things going on with the business, and I think you closed it, something to do with that. But then you started doing looms, and like within your first week of transitioning from your current strategy to including looms in the way we did it in there, I think you signed an extra like 5K in monthly revenue or something just off the bat, which probably was like what, 2 or 3 clients or something. Do you want to talk about that for a
Yeah,
second?
about 2 or 3 clients for sure. I noticed that right away when I started implementing the strategy, the responses, I mean, obviously not any cold outreach. My cold outreach was clearly working, but you always get people that are kind of like irritated that you reached out to them. And I noticed the immediate transition with looms was like people, even if they said no, they were still like complimentary. And so yeah, but it definitely worked quite well. And not only did I get a few like extra clients from just switching to that, but I noticed that the people that got on the phone, like same thing with when I got on the phone with you, it was like they already had some sort of established trust because of the method. So yeah.
And I
Pretty cool.
remember we had a discussion a couple of month or two in, and we were talking about different automation strategies in terms of like how to automate it. And I think you were talking about using Canva or something to try and overlay it. Did you end up automating the looms as we sort of showed, or did you continue to record them yourself personally?
We did end up automating the looms, and unfortunately, if we completely automated them with no personalization whatsoever, the results did decrease. So if anyone's watching this, don't do that. But
Don't take it too far. It just tends to
yeah, don't take it too far. Because I mean, to be honest, I love automation and I love seeing how far I can get with it. So that was just a little too far. But yeah, if I noticed that if we just like, I mean, you explained your method in the training of like how to like halfway automate it. That works pretty well still. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to sort of like, because if you take it too far, then there's no point. Just going back to your point of what you mentioned before, is like with the loom process that we use, is we never really get people respond saying like F off or leave me alone. It's generally like, hey, I appreciate this, but it's not a good fit. And I think that's an interesting thing also from like reputation building, because one of the problems we have with our agencies, with Northflow, is we used to grow it mostly with quantity-based cold email, and it was very sort of like it worked for the short term, but I think we definitely burned our market a little bit, because we had 60,000 gyms and we probably reached out to all of them like 2 or 3 times at least. But then we obviously had the brand name and then an annoying message, and we do think that probably had an impact. Whereas if we did looms, it'd be 10 times easier. And so you came on, and obviously if we fast forward since you started using the strategy, after about 3 or 4 months, I think you had an extra like 15K in new monthly revenue, which obviously scaled you up and grew. When you sort of like got that first client from Loom, what did that feel like when you were like, oh, this actually works? Because we've had people before who don't think it, they'd be like, oh, this can't work, and they do it and then it does work. How did that feel?
I think I knew it was going to work. So I wasn't like super shocked, but it still felt like really awesome, because part of the reason why I bought into your course was because I wanted to enhance the techniques that I was using for my clients. So like when I mean, I kind of always use myself as my first proof of concept, of course. So I tested it on myself and I was like, oh, this works. This is awesome. So it was pretty exciting to then be able to translate that into part of my service.
Yeah. Of course. Did you dig into like anything else, or was it just the Loom stuff in the program? Was there anything else?
Honestly, that's as far as I got, because it like works really well. And I'm just like a big fan of organic. So even though I think like you said earlier, I bought into your course because I was like, oh, I need to like start learning ads. But it's so hard sometimes to move away from organic because it's so like profitable and quick. So yeah, that's honestly like pretty much all I've gotten into, other than probably a few extra modules.
Yeah, I mean, ads are really complicated, right? And like we sort of realized this with Imperium. And Bo and I have talked at length about running ads, because we were like, do we do ads? Because like if we do them, we'll sign like clients like this. Then what we realized is that like if we run ads, we'll get lazy, because we'll no longer keep doing organic to fill the pipeline, because we can just pay to get clients. And what we realized is that like the reason that our clients are able to get such good results is exactly as you said, because we are our own testing facility. So like recently with our looms, we had this deliverability problem where suddenly our emails were going to spam, and we looked into it and we managed to fix it. And it isn't something that we had previously covered in the program. And so now we have this knowledge to be like, okay, guys, if this happens, you can fix it like this.
Oh my
And I
gosh,
think
yes.
that's where, sorry?
The deliverability module was genius. That was,
Yeah.
I really
This,
enjoyed that. Like I've never
well,
seen anything like it.
most people get really like bored with stuff like that, and you know,
It was exciting. I was like, oh my gosh, I've never even thought about all this stuff. This is like really, this is in depth. Yeah, I liked it.
well, because we thought it, and we were like, when I did the deliverability training, I knew like all of that stuff, but putting it onto one sheet of paper took me like a week because I
Oh
was
my God.
like, because I knew what it was all about, and then I was like, oh, but I've missed this and haven't accounted for this. But what's the point in having like an amazing strategy if you just end up in the spam inbox?
Yes, exactly.
And so we constantly learn new things and just updating everything. And
And
so what?
especially as an agency owner, like since I would be doing it for clients, like I also have to know what I'm doing so that their emails don't start going to spam. And then if they ask, obviously there's going to be questions about things, and then it's like I just felt like, oh, I know everything about deliverability now. Like, so it also built like credibility and trust for them to be like, okay, like let's do it. So
Exactly.
yeah, I liked it.
Exactly. And what was your sales process like? Because if I'm not mistaken, you already have like a small team and a closer, and it was fairly automated. I want to briefly touch on how you found that closer and what your relationship with them is like, because it might be useful for everybody listening.
Uh, it's funny. All of my closers I almost kind of found by chance, to
Okay.
be honest. So my uh, two of my best closers, like one of them was actually a previous client of mine, and they were offering like lead generation and sales to their clients, and so he was like a really good salesperson, and he ended up, doing my sales. And then the other one was a sales coach that I hired for myself, and then he ended up being like, "Oh, this is actually like a really good offer. I want to partner up with you." And so he ended up doing my closing. So it's kind of like I don't have like a super solid way to actually go out and find closers. It's just been kind of like through relationships. But yeah.
Hmm. When you manage reps, and I'm not kind of asking for myself at this point as well,
Okay.
because I think
Sure.
you've got obviously managed a few, and I remember as well, when we were recording the virtual assistant hiring module, you massively helped with that because you had this whole SOP and sort of thing put together for the program that you were building. So thank you for that. Any clients
Oh, you're
watching,
welcome.
if you guys like the VA hiring module, Amanda's pretty much to thank. And when you're managing your closes and stuff and taking care of these people, like what sort of, do you have a daily workflow for that, or is it really just like you just leave them to it because they're talented and they can do what they want basically?
Um, Honestly, like for closers, I typically just like leave them to it, and of course, check on their sales tracking sheet like every week, and
Hmm.
just see how things are going and if there's anything we can improve.
Hmm.
However, I recently implemented daily team meetings, and they've actually been really awesome. I probably started that like about a month ago. So
Mhm.
every morning we all just get on Zoom for like 30 minutes to an hour, just depending on how much we talk. But
When you
it's like,
say all of you, is that like you and the rep, or you and multiple reps and VAs? How big's the team?
so I actually just got rid of my reps because I wanted to start talking to the market again, and really like kind of understand more things.
Yeah.
And so I've been doing the closing for the last few weeks. So this is kind of a newer thing that I'm doing it again. But right now it's just me and my marketing manager, who manages a bunch of other people like in the Philippines, and then my copywriter. So it's only three of us right now. But if I had my closer on, it would be four of us.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you know, I have this thing with sales calls where I don't like letting go of them either. But obviously, I think
Where you don't what?
I don't like letting go of sales calls.
Oh,
So like with
yeah.
Imperium, we're sort of halfway through getting a rep, and I'm like, I like these calls, and I don't want them to go, but you know, where needs must, I suppose.
You learn a lot. I mean, I don't. I learned through having reps how much I don't learn when I'm not doing the sales calls.
Hmm.
So I mean, that's probably something that once I do get a closer again, I'll probably find a way to gather what they're learning as they go. So, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Guess if you just get them to self-review or something, but then if you
Mhm.
listen to their calls or
Just be like,
something.
what are they saying? Like what is the market saying? Like maybe
Yeah.
on the meetings or something.
I think that's the thing with it as well, is it's like if you hire a rep, then your ear's no longer to the ground. And then like
Mhm.
the market can just massively shift and you just won't know,
Yeah,
like you won't
exactly.
even be able to feel the tectonic plates just like moving because you're just, you know, working on a product or something, and then you're like you build it and you're like, wait, people don't want this anymore. Like
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's, yeah, like I said, one of the reasons why I'm doing them again, because important to get the market feedback. So
Yeah. Do you manage any of your client accounts at all, or is it not really, is that not really the case?
I mostly oversee them. So my marketing manager and copywriter pretty much handle the day-to-day of like building everything and managing it. However, whenever there's like additional, not issues, but just like things that need problem solving from like a higher level, I'll go in and take a look and nitpick it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, for the most part, my team's running them.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that's where you've been, that's where you are now. We've obviously helped you add that revenue. And so the goal for the future, if I'm not mistaken, is to try and explore some other markets with people who are starting out, and coaches that are sort of beginning, and you want to help them transform themselves from these beginner coaches to actually, like, you know, proper business owners. I know for a fact that I've got a fair few people that watch who aren't in the agency space and actually coach and, you know, just getting started. So do you want to briefly just touch on like what your plan is and who you want to work with and what that, I know it's probably not finalized and I don't want to put you on the spot here, but what's your plan? I'm just going to plug my laptop in a second here because for some reason I'm unplugged. This is the production quality that people get when they come to my YouTube channel. But yeah, what's the plan? What does the future look like for your business, do you think?
Sure. So essentially, I've kind of been in this journey of figuring out what I am the most passionate about as far as helping people and helping my clients. And I began building this program actually for more like advanced coaches.
Yeah.
And then recently realized that my passion actually lies in helping smaller, newer coaches to transition into having a larger, successful business and everything that goes along with that. So the plan right now is to pivot my course slightly to being more towards to be geared towards helping someone make that transformation. So in the coaching space. So yeah.
That's awesome. No, it's important. I think it's like, you know, we were discussing this obviously before the interview, but it's nice to help people make that huge leap instead of the small leap. But then it's like, how do you balance that with like good business practice where, you know, you're trying to work with as many people as you can, but it's also a bit chaotic. So if anyone's listening and they wanted your help and potentially with, you know, if they're a coach and like they want more clients and they're already quite big, or if they're getting started, they want more clients and they're sort of looking to get into that, how could someone get in touch with you, assuming you'd want people to get in touch with you?
Yes, absolutely. So honestly, the best place to go is just my website. It's rushdigitalmarketing.com, and there's links all throughout it to book a call with me. However, if you wanted to get a hold of me directly without booking a call, you could always reach out to me at amanda@rushdigitalmarketing.com as well.
Cool.
So, yeah.
That's amazing. Well, that's I think we can conclude it there because I know we've both got hard stops in about 5 or 10 minutes.
Yes, indeed.
But I do really appreciate your time, and you know,
Thanks for having me.
you know, it doesn't seem like, do you know what, I was looking through my notes and it's literally a year ago that you joined us, and obviously you've made some huge crazy, some huge transitions between now and then. So yeah, keep plugging away, and
You as well.
Nice one.
Sounds good.
Bye.